Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Piqua City Schools Board of Education. It is 6 p.m. on September 22nd. So if everyone can stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Jeremy, if you could please call roll.
Mr. Mitchell.
Here.
Mr. Frazier.
Here.
Mr. Bostic.
Here.
Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mrs. McMacken.
Here. Everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes from last month's meeting, and if we don't have any edits or revisions to make, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries, and July's minutes are approved. And if there are no changes to be made for tonight's agenda, may I get a motion to approve that?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries, and tonight's agenda is approved.
We have one guest that Mr. Lyons would like to introduce didn't make it last time, so if you wouldn't mind, could we go ahead and introduce her?
Yes.
We have a couple of additional people come to different meetings for introductions that you all didn't get a chance to meet. Now, this one you'll recognize probably most of you, and she is mad at me because she's by herself tonight. Katie, if you'd like to come up to the mic here and, as we prepare, tell us a little bit about you.
I didn't prepare for that.
You should.
Okay. I'm Katie Stewart. I am one of the art teachers at the high school. I was born and raised here in Piqua, and I went to Bowling Green for quite a few years for college, and now I'm back.
We are blessed
Aw.
to have Katie at the high school. She's doing a great job out there.
Yes, she is.
Aw,
She's doing a great job, so.
welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You gonna dismiss her, or you gonna make her stay?
No, I was gonna tell her, but I think Rob got her already.
Okay.
Nothing for hearing. Oh, well, we don't have a board report for the Upper Valley Career Center yet because they don't meet until Monday.
Correct.
And nothing for hearing of the public
Nope.
on the agenda items. So moving on to the treasurer's agenda, Mr. Hiddle.
Good evening. The first item on the agenda is the FY22 appropriations. I'm asking the board to approve those for a second time. I say we get the software problem fixed, and so it's just it just approves the new appropriations for the end of last fiscal year. And then the second item on there is approving the FY23 appropriations. And we're looking at just around $58 million in all the funds. The general fund is close to $40 million on its own. And everything that's laid out should still end the district in the black for the fiscal year. Are there any questions about the fiscal reports that you were provided for the month? Everything is on target on where I expect it to be at this point in time. And then the other thing that we have there is the approval of the salary adjustments. The total is $22,418 worth of tuition reimbursement. That's 37 of our teachers. Actually 36 teachers, and I believe one classified employee, as well as we have 10 people moving up on that list to either a master's or master's plus 10, those kinds of things. Are there any questions? That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Jeremy, please call roll on that.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mr. Bostic.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye. Okay, the treasurer's agenda is approved. And moving on to the superintendent's report with Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. We're well into the start of the school year. Things have really kicked off on a good note. We have our enrollment that is stabilizing. Again, I've shared that our sports teams and music programs are really well underway. We invited each principal to talk a little bit about some of the student programs that they have that are going really well. Mr. Clark of the junior high, his son is in a varsity match tonight that he really didn't want to miss, so I let him do that. And Mr. Hughes is still working on a student issue, actually, even at this hour. So those two are excused for this evening, but we have three principals that can certainly share some wonderful things. So Mr. Lauenbach looks really anxious over there, so we're going to let him come up first from Spring Creek.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so as Mr. Thompson alluded to, the year has started off on a great note, so very pleased with that. Some highlights tonight are attendance for us is going to be one of them. September is Attendance Awareness Month, so some of the things we're doing in the building. Again, I know we talked about it before, but a lot of kudos to Krista Hoying and her work. She's been outstanding, so really appreciate her support. So this month we're focusing on weekly drawings, so we're looking at students arriving on time, with some perfect attendance there. So we have 60 drawings every Friday for those students who qualify for that. And in doing so, as of right now, we have 0 attendance thresholds, which is super encouraging because even though we're roughly 3 weeks into the school year, that's usually not the case. So yeah, we're very excited about where attendance is starting. I almost don't even want to talk about it, but it's important to highlight because sometimes it's one of our drawbacks. So yeah, we're excited about where that's at, and hopefully that's going to head to even greater pastures. So something else is our Pbis, our positive behavior intervention supports. All buildings do that. That's a district-wide initiative. Specifically to Spring Creek, we are seeing high success rates so far with student behavior. Right now we're focusing on the characteristic trait responsibility, and in doing so we're really looking for that being displayed throughout the building, and we notice students doing that. We're giving red tickets for that, which also go into a drawing in their classroom. We do an office drawing every Friday where we try to get 30-ish kids a ticket drawn. They come down to the office and they get recognized for that. They get to pick a prize. So they really like that so far. We were also looking at, we do positive office referrals in the building, and that's also something students really enjoy because their teachers write that or a staff member writes that, and then each morning we read those on the morning announcements to recognize those students. So that's just another initiative to help students with the positive intervention sports there. As I mentioned in the last board meeting, we're doing one book, one building, and it's focused on the invisible boy. That has been a really great initiative in our building. It's really helped in our conversations and discussions and interactions with students, and them being able to relate their behavior or their how they interact with their peers to the characters in the book, Brian and Justin, who are the two main characters. So a lot of cool stuff going on. If you ever get to come to the building and go in classrooms, a lot of teachers have displayed that throughout out their rooms. Specifically in art class, Amanda Redenbow has had some students, she read the book, she drew a picture, almost like a pencil stencil outline of what Brian is in the beginning, where people don't see him, they don't recognize him, he's not feeling included. And then they drew a second picture that has more representation of Brian at the end of the book, where he is feeling included. People or peers and teachers are recognizing his talents and traits. So that was a really cool activity. I want to give her some kudos on that. Overall positive energy from the staff. So, always love seeing that. So shout out to them. And when it comes more curriculum and instruction-based TBTs, our teacher-based teams are up and going, and there's great collaboration and collective efficacy going there. So we just want to ride that momentum. And just honestly great parent support too. So shout out to all parents for their part. And those are some of the highlights from Spring Creek.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's been smooth, a smooth beginning.
I'm gonna say yes. Yeah, it has been. It's been a great. I'd say in my 6 years there, it's the best start so far. So,
That's encouraging.
We'll keep that rolling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Eric, you want to go or you want to catch your breath?
I'm fine.
All right, come on up. Eric from Washington, Mr. Hughes.
Yeah. Sorry I'm late. There were some things going on. So I guess kind of updates. Last time I talked about what our end of the day dismissal procedures were going to be like. Day one was pretty bad. I think that's saying it pretty lightly. Day one was very bad. But we kind of collected ourselves, had a meeting the next morning, and we went from about a 45-minute dismissal day one to about 15. Now we're down to about 6 or 7. So we're going to start getting to where we're going to dismiss at the times when we're scheduled to dismiss instead of a little earlier. I moved it earlier, day 2, to try to get things out. I've heard some good things about it's being safer. We're getting, traffic looks better. If you saw our last dismissal, we would have a line in the parking lot about halfway, almost where our crosswalk is by our main door, after we'd get cars loaded because they couldn't go anywhere. So it's kind of staggered our traffic a little bit and made things a little nicer that way. Some of the things that I'm kind of proud of that I want to hit on today was kind of a rough day with several things. So with that, we try to create a place where our students can feel welcome, where they can feel supported. We had a young girl who lost her mom. She came to school. So just, I think she came to school because she felt like that was a place she needed to be, a place she wanted to be, a place she got cared about. I called a couple parents because, some things that kind of tug your hearts. She told the kids about it, said, Mom didn't get to do my hair today. One of the little girls braided her hair at recess. Just those are things that we want our kids to do. And it's kind of a rough day, but also great things too came out of it. So I talked to the staff after school that is why we're here. We keep talking about it. We keep preaching that we're here to build that community. We want kids to feel loved and welcomed in a place they want to be. And probably the roughest day that girl's going to go through, she got up, got herself ready, and came to school. And I think she felt loved, cared about, and wanted to be there today. So it's not quite every day that way, and not quite that way for all of our kids, but that's the kind of climate we're trying to create. So I know there's a little bit more to go through, but like I said, today's been kind of one of those days that's been a little off. So, told our staff really appreciate how hard everybody's working. We've had a good start to the year. Day one, like I said, did not go well, but staff's responded. We've rebounded, and since then, things have gone pretty smooth. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Butler from PCIS.
Good evening. First, I want to give a big shout out to our parents. Our enrollment last time we got the report was around 748. Today was the deadline to have all your forms filled out, and we accomplished that goal last week. So that's a big kudos to our parents, getting online, filling out those forms, coming to Indian Days, and also to our parents who don't necessarily have internet access or a device to do that. They called in, and our secretaries and our assistant principals did a wonderful job of working their way through that to make sure we have all the updated contact information, emergency contacts, addresses, all that, just in case if we ever needed it, that we'd have a good phone number to call. So thank you to our parents out there. That's pretty impressive, and that's the second year that we've done that. Next to our staff, staff has done a wonderful job of preparing their classrooms, and like Eric said, preparing an environment where kids want to come to school, they feel safe, they feel engaged. For some of our students, they come to school to get that meal, to get that breakfast, to feel loved, and our staff does that day in and day out. One of the new things we did this year with our tribe induction ceremony, that was one of the things where we include get kids in all grades, 4th, 5th, and 6th, to kind of come together, to give kids role models, to give kids kind of a vision of, hey, I want to be like this kid when I'm in 6th grade kind of thing. And so we did a modified field day, our first Friday, that went off with a lot of success. Once again, the logistics of planning, kudos to our staff for planning a safe environment for kids to have a lot of fun with 748 kids around our campus and inside our building. And that went really well. I want to say to Ross and Eric, we've really noticed our 4th graders this year transitioning well. We know you've put a lot of work in that. Just the simple day practices like walking down the hallway in a calm manner may not seem like a big thing, but when you see kids walking down the hallway calmly, the right level of their voices, that just brings that sense of safety and then that sense of engagement to everybody, staff, students, all that included. So thank you guys for all your work that you put in. It's really shown in those fourth graders. Some big events we have coming up tomorrow. We do have our Junior Farmers Market. This is put on by the Ohio State Extension. It gives some of our kids, our fourth graders, a chance to go out in a farmers market environment where they have little wooden coins where they purchase produce. So not only do they take home fresh produce, but they also learn some valuable skills about money management. So thank you to Scott Bloom, who kind of headed that up, and thank you to the volunteers from the Ohio State Extension for a great experience for our kids. We've also partnered with Piqua Catholic. Piqua Catholic brings their fourth graders over to get that same experience. Next Friday, our fifth graders will be headed to Lost Creek Farm for Farm Day, a partnership with Hartselle Propeller and the Miami County Parks. Another great event for kids to experience some things that they don't normally get to experience. It really opens their eyes. One of the biggest things that they learn is that one of the local farmers brings a combine, and when you start talking about how much a combine costs, the GPS that's needed to run the combine, that really opens the kids' eyes to farmers and where your food comes from. You know, it's really easy to go to the grocery store and just there, and now when we see shortages or all that, kids can kind of understand and wrap their heads around why there might be shortages, and also appreciate those people who do farm and do provide our produce and all the hard work they put in. A couple of clubs that we have. Once again, our purpose of our clubs is to give kids another layer of engagement. Any day a kid could come to school and in your math, your ELA, your science, your social studies, yeah, you know, they're doing their best, but there's also some extra stuff that we try to provide kids. One couple of the clubs I provide are Brickmasters Club, where kids just come and they have a initiative, hey, build this, and they use Legos and they build it. Kids really like that. Our LEAD, which is our Principals Advisory Group, is about ready to get, so kids apply for that. Last year's LEAD group in 4th and 5th are automatically in if they want, and then 4th graders fill out an application. We also give that opportunity to kids who didn't participate in LEAD last year in 5th and 6th. The other cool thing that our staff does is we really push kids who we think, one, have leadership skills, but also have a voice that, you know, see a need in our building and gives them a voice to kind of solve some of our things, our issues that may arise that as adults we may not necessarily see, but kids see it, and they're very insightful, so giving them that voice. One new thing this year that we're very excited about with 4th and 5th, 6th grade, we do have our run club, which will happen in the spring, which is a great event, a great segue into cross country at the junior high. But that was for 6th grade. We had a staff member go out on their own, and we are now registered for Girls on the Run. Girls on the Run is a program where 2 days a week they come, and not only is it running, but it's teaching students about hygiene, how to be healthy, both physically healthy and emotionally healthy, how to use the internet safe. So, and it's a 6-week program in the spring that culminates with them running in a 5K. So we're really excited to enhance that opportunity down to our 4th and 5th graders. So some of our other clubs, we do have a engineering club, we have our K-Kids yoga club, and we also are in the works of having our working with the high school and starting conversations with the high school. High school has kicked off a Esports Club. Our kids have heard about that. I think they saw a Facebook post, or their parents saw a Facebook post about it. And so I've had students approach me, hey, Mr. Butler, can we do an esports thing? So we're starting the groundwork for that. One of the things that we've talked about as principals is getting kids, you know, all grades exposure to the high school programs, getting kids from the primaries up to see what we have as well. So that's pretty exciting that we're starting to see, and once again, that's kid driven. So some exciting things. Overall, I'll reiterate what Ross and Eric said at the start of the year. You know, coming off what we've come off, this is the smoothest start that I've had in 4 years as the lead principal. So we're excited about that. So a real team effort from all the way from parents, students, staff, district-wide, just to get kids started off on the right foot. So any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Butler.
Thank you.
Mr. Mezek from the Piqua High School.
All right, mine's a two-parter. Chips wanted me to report some stuff for you guys. So I'm going to give you our athletic stuff real quick. Oh, sorry. I always think I'm loud enough. So our volleyball team has really been showing some great improvement here of late. Coach is doing a great job. Girls soccer has won 2 out of the last 3. Cheerleading took first in the county, and they're heading to a invitational down in Cincinnati. Band competed in Cincinnati last weekend, and I got best of class. The girls, boys, golf, and girls tennis are all starting their MVL meets next week. Football is doing well at 4-1. Cross country just got completed with a night race, 700 runners and 18 teams. And we had fireworks. And apparently, we're not sure, but we think we might be the best in the state or the biggest one in the state, but we will definitely be that next year, if that's not the case. And they've been performing very well. So we've had several top runners at the meets. I've been trying to keep away from, mentioning individuals, but we have to mention this guy, Nathan Beaker. Right now has the most goals in a season, career, and games. He's number 1 in the state in goals and number 8 in the country.
Wow.
So he is, I believe it's 28 goals, I think. I could be wrong. That's pretty impressive stuff. And then Josh Heath also has the career for saves. So big shout out for the men's soccer team. So that's some good stuff.
Uh-huh.
All right, school-wise, I'm just going to echo, boy, what a difference a year makes. All right, because we got to remember last year we were all sitting there going, oh boy, okay, because the kids coming off of the digital learning or whatever we wanted to call it. High school, just like these guys, our attendance is 94% right now. That's where we are at, so that's amazing. 86% last year, so that's a big flip. Referrals are way down compared to last year. After a year of being back in school, kids realize what's important and how to act and interact with each other the right way. So that's huge. Teachers, right now with our teaching staff, we're doing our goals conferences, which is really nice. Is that the goals that they're writing are reflecting the work that we've been doing as a district leadership team all over the course of last year and then through the summer. So it's just neat to see that whole cycle come through. I have several. This year I have more new staff than I've ever had, and they are amazing. Mr. Lyons did a nice job picking some people out for us to talk to. Just great new staff, and of course our veteran staff is amazing as well. But just how mature they are, just doing, like I said, a really, really, really good job. Overall, oh wait, I forgot to mention sports-wise, our esports team just competed today for the first time versus Princeton out of Cincinnati. And I don't know how they did because I have no idea what this is. I'm looking at it, it's just lights flashing and things moving around. But I saw the coach over there just kind of going like that, so I don't know if that meant we were doing not very well or not. But it's exciting because like the other day I was in my office, they have 2 practices a week and they compete one day. And I just kept hearing all this cheering and everything else. And so I didn't know where it was coming from. And I walked down there and they're down in our new esports lab and they were just practicing, just high-fiving each other. If they weren't even playing each other, they was practicing moves, which I didn't know you could do that. So I'm learning all kinds of new stuff right now. All right, moving on. Overall, the mood in the school it's fantastic. It's just fantastic. I don't know. I don't know how to really explain it, but smiling, laughter, you know what I mean? Things that it's just good. It's just good stuff. And the teaching staff out in the hallways and just the interaction with each other, and the kids with each other, and the teachers and everything. It's just a great, great feel. And I can't really, like I said, my words don't explain it well. And if you want to come out, like I said, it's very easy to see. So anyway, just good stuff going on. So, you got any questions for me? I'm sorry.
This is
100 times better presentation than you gave last year at the start of the year. You were scared, I think, or you were worried, and I think you said feral cats, and I think it was like, I was like, oh my Lord, we need help at the high school last year, because you were a little nervous about it, and like, it's so good to see.
Yeah, like I said, amazing.
180.
Yeah, it's like I said, it was. I'm not. I mean, last year was tough. I mean, there's just no doubt about it, and it was tough for our kids, tough for our teachers, tough for administrators, tough for board members and everything. Just, I don't know. You know, like I said, we lost so much in the 1 year, and you know that we during those COVID times. Getting back, I think the hardest part of it was, Sean, was that I think we came back and just thought everything was just going to be you know, we're back, let's do it, and then it didn't happen that way. And then, like I said, now after being in school a year. Again, and then back, you know, I don't know, I think we have probably less than 9 students that are actually in an online education program, and that's because of, you know, a medical situation. You know, we're all back together, like the whole family's back together kind of thing, so it's good, it's real good.
Awesome.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I guess I would like to get back in time and not say those comments, but.
Well.
Thanks for
being honest.
It was a stressful time.
Yeah.
It was all good. They're all good now. All right.
How
Anything
are your
else?
renovations coming?
Oh, are you kidding me?
What? I'm sure it's going. You're getting there.
We are. We're getting there. It is. There's no doubt. Beautiful, beautiful facility. I mean, we're at the point right now. You see the finish line, but the finish line's not coming fast enough, right? And that's kind of where we are. The teachers are, you know, ecstatic about their new rooms. The kids, you know, we have to get that coffee shop in soon because Mr. Messick, where are we at? Mr. Messick, you know, that whole thing, because they just walk by us and look at it. So yeah, I mean, it's the whole student union area. And when we first started talking about doing that, we said we want this to be the focal point of the school, and I know Jeremy worked through all that, and it is. I mean, it is an amazing, amazing thing. So that's kind of holding us up. There's part of it that's not finished, and the kids and the teachers, they want in there. You know, like, when do we get to use this? When do we get to use it? But we'll get there eventually here. So yes, thank you guys for putting that together for us. That whole renovation project. That's wonderful. All right. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you
Appreciate it.
very much.
You all thanked a lot of other people, but thank you for your leadership, because without that, a lot of things wouldn't have happened either. So you've done some tremendous work, and we can't say enough thank yous to our staff either for really hanging in there over this whole COVID. You know, last 2 or 3 years, it's been a lot, and never once have I heard the staff say, let's give up, or let's stay home, or let's do whatever. And not to their fault, attendance from even their level was bad because of all the COVID issues and everything. And today, Tony came over and told me what?
I'm afraid to say it. Well, Rob called me early this morning and said, hey, I have a substitute teacher. We had somebody that put in the wrong day, essentially, for their leave, so that sub showed up. And I said, don't send them anywhere because I know we'll have a hole somewhere. And so I started calling people, but he had already started calling people, and we didn't have any holes. And so I pulled up the attendance. We kept the person. We put them in a unit in another building, but I pulled up the attendance. I had 1 half-day sub, and then at Spring Creek Primary, we had 1 person out today for the entire district. And it's the second time this week, because one day this week we had 3 buildings that were perfect attendance. And I don't know if it's happened in my career in this position, like for 5 or 6 years, whatever it's been, but it for sure hasn't happened for the last 3 years with illness and, you know, all those things that are happening. So just, I mean, kudos to the staff, just being here, working hard every day. It's been fun to watch at the start.
It's just good to know that people are healthy again, and they're back, and they're engaged, and we've got that momentum back. So we just hope we keep it.
Yeah. It's exciting.
It is very exciting.
And Eric, we need to say to you that, you know, obviously our hearts go out to your student, but I know that's probably one of the hardest parts of your job too. So, but you're providing, as you know, just a great place for her, and we thank you.
The kids were good, the staff was
very good today, and even the little girl, that's exactly, she told people, she had those conversations, so wow, that's pretty done.
Well, and it was probably the best place for her today, so.
She said she wants to come back tomorrow.
Oh, good. That's good.
They were gonna leave that up to her, and she said she wants to come back tomorrow, which would be nice.
Well, we'll be thinking about all of you because I know that's hard on you guys too, so.
Thank you again. Compliance officer update, Mr. Lyons?
Oh, yes. Each year, we have to make sure that we, in the board minutes, acknowledge who the compliance officer is, and that happens to be me. And that's primarily for the purposes of Title IX, sexual harassment complaints that may come in for both students and staff, but also any harassment types of information. And that's per board policy. So that's in board policy, in Neola board policy. And anybody can find the information for Title IX within 3 clicks on the, our webpage. All the information to include the training that our staff's gone through, who the compliance officers are, who the hearing officers are, all that information is right there.
Okay.
Any questions on that one? Okay, thank you.
Wanted to announce to the public that we do have a homecoming parade coming up next week. We brought that back last year for the first time since 1999. It was a huge success. We had a pep rally afterward leading into the homecoming game, so we really wanted to continue that. We have a fantastic parade lined up. I hope everybody can make it. We'll be downtown Piqua. It'll begin at 6:30, and all the teams from the junior high on up. We even have some of the Pee Wee leagues coming. Cheerleaders, marching band. We have our homecoming court. We have our Athletic Hall of Fame inductees that will be in the parade, as well as our Alumni of Distinction honorees this year. They'll be in the parade. So should be a really good event with a lot of great recognition of our students and some of our alumni. So I want to invite the public to come downtown, celebrate that with us, and really just be a part of the great spirit that's going to happen next week. It's a really good spirited week, so hope everybody can join us for that. I invited Paul Oberdorf, our city manager, tonight because you guys have had some questions, and you just want to make sure what you're sharing with me, that you want to make sure that the citizens have answers and that there's some accurate information that's out there as much as possible, and that there's some good dates and timelines and things put in front of them so that we can kind of put some of that at ease if we could. So Paul agreed to come, and he provided a couple of fact sheets. I think you guys have picked those up, and I've given them to the board. So just a chance for him to share some things and for you to ask any questions that you want to get some clarification on things that might be asked of you. Okay? Mr. Oberdorfer, thanks for being here.
Good evening. Yeah, so it was really apparent at our commission meeting on Tuesday that there's a lot of misinformation and not understanding of the process. A lot of you folks were there, and I want to be sure that that the process is clear, and that when your voice is heard, that you're in front of the proper body to get resolution. And so I thought I'd step back and talk about how the process began with the Board of Education and how that timeline will lay out, so that as we move forward through this, you all will have an opportunity to speak to the right body, air your concerns, and hopefully get resolution on this item. So back in November of last year, I believe the board entered into an exclusive agreement with Wayland so that they could proceed forward with doing conceptual design on the Wilder site. And that alone was not a sale of property, a transfer of property, anything of the sort. What it did was it allowed them to move forward to the next engagement, which would be with the Planning Commission. And really that's where the voice of the public's heard. The Planning Commission holds the authority to either accept or reject the conceptual proposal, which would be very similar to what you have on that one-sheeter. There'll be drawings. There'll be you'll have a lot of opportunity to weigh in at that meeting about any environmental concerns you may have, about traffic, things of that nature that you brought up at the commission meeting on Tuesday night. But after that, after the concept plan goes through the Planning Commission, it'll move on. That'll be on November 8th. On November 15th, it would be before the City Commission. So then they'll again review it, and then they'll accept or reject the motion, move forward with Wayland, and then they'll also move forward with the resolution to accept or reject the purchase or sale. And that's contingent upon over the next 12 months that they have to come back and submit the final development drawings that goes back through the Planning Commission. So again, you can show up at the meeting if you have concerns or if the concept doesn't match what they're submitting as their final development drawings for the plan. That would be another opportunity for you to get in front of the Planning Commission. And after that, it'll either be approved or rejected again through the commission before it's recorded and the plat becomes official. So there's a lot of engagement along the way, a lot of opportunity for your voice to be heard, but I want to be sure that it's in front of the right body. Coming here and expressing your concerns to the Board of Education is really great for them to hear your perspective, but they don't have the authority to really do anything outside of their purview with the schools. And so if you want to get satisfaction, the best place to get that would be with the Planning Commission. So we have the new website stood up. Please sign up for Piqua alerts so you don't miss anything. The information will all be posted there. I know there are a lot of drawings floating around about 50 houses, 40 houses. This sheet says 30 houses. We won't know what that looks like until the developer actually has the schematic drawings and the 30% drawings to lay out in front of the Planning Commission. And those will be posted well ahead of the meeting. So I would encourage you guys to follow it, and you can get just an alert for the Planning Commission, but I'd like you to sign up for all of them. But please do, engage with the Planning Commission with your concerns, because that's really what they're there for. You all live around the site. You have insights to what goes on there more so than the Planning Commission does. And if you have any documents that relate to any environmental concerns you may have, that would be a good thing to issue at that time. Anybody have any questions?
You've been great at asking questions. Any citizen that has asked me questions, I've made sure you're aware. I've also made sure that both Chris and Paul are aware so that they can get in front of it too. I would say publicly, and I've told you, Paul, they're really good about really wanting to make sure you guys and the board and everybody else gets their questions answered with accurate information. So we'll continue to engage with you and to make sure that we share with you any concerns that come our way.
Yep.
And appreciate you putting that together as well as the information. Are you going to put this on your website at all, or
I'm not sure.
How can people get a hold
of that document? I'll be sure that it's accessible on the website.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Paul, one concern I had was I just want to make sure there is communication with you in the neighborhood. So, hopefully the meetings and schedules, hopefully they will get all the dates and what is that? Now the website is, what is it? Where?
The city website?
Just go to the city and
city
follow
website,
it. It's on
Piqua,
there.
piquaoh.gov. We've changed our website. It's been stood up on Tuesday at noon. It's very easy to navigate now, so you would just go to the Planning Commission page. That's where all the documents would be housed. And then their meeting schedule's also on there on the calendar. So nothing will happen between now and November 8th. Waylon will probably be preparing for that opportunity, and that would be your first choice or first chance to really get in front of somebody.
Other questions from the board? Thank you.
No,
right.
thank you for
Thanks,
coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's it for
We'll
superintendent's report.
have you speak in just a little bit. Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Thompson. I guess we can proceed with the agenda.
Sure. Just would like to recommend the board to approve the attached list of donations and grants to the Piqua City School District. We had some donations to the Indian Nation Golf Outing that happened this past summer. French Oil continues to support a lot of our programs, and they donated to the PCIS Community Days that they do. We have Kroger Community Reward Points going to our Science Olympiad. So that's all for that. I'd like to recommend the board approval for the updated Piqua City School District free and reduced lunch policy for the upcoming school year here. We received extra funds from the federal government other than what they had originally allocated, so this just updates the fact that they received those. We received those funds. Nothing new there. And recommend board approval of the Piqua High School AP policies and procedures. We always pay for those for the students to take those tests. The state requires us to sign up at a certain deadline at the beginning of the year. and we have to pay for them at that time. This policy says that if a student backs out at the end of the year, they're responsible for paying that $40 fee for that test. In other words, we didn't want to pay for it, sign them up by the required date, get to the end of the year, and the kids say, I don't want to do that now, because they have that option. So if they back out, and they get that information right up front, they'll have to reimburse that. It'll go on their fee list, and they'll assume that responsibility for that. And that's it for my agenda.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding any of those topics? Okay. If not, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the superintendent's agenda is approved.
Thank you.
So moving on with Mr. Lyons and the personnel agenda.
Thank you. First of all, I realized when I sat down here, that I did not send you the update. I apologize for that. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I've been pretty good about it. So I'll make sure to get you that. The good news is there's not a lot on the agenda, so that's also something we were saying. That's a really good thing. You all have, and I'm not going to speak to any of these things here, but I want to talk quickly because they all mentioned new staff and teachers and those kinds of things. And over the last several months, you've been approving people. And so I've been able to get out into the new teachers' classrooms each week since we've been started. And they're fantastic. That group of 22 that you all approved are just, you saw Katie here. It's hard to believe that a new person can just hit the ground running like they have. And in many cases, we've got some veteran people that we hired too, but they're just having a real positive impact in our buildings. And I think our kids are going to be so much better for them. And I forget that we had a pretty large group last year, so I remembered I better stop in their rooms too when I'm out there. So it's going really well. I think very proud of the people that we've selected, and thank you for that. So outside of that, unless you have questions about the agenda items, I don't have anything else to present there.
Think about what our students have gone through the last couple of years with COVID. They went through that in college, so they're coming out with some of those same experiences, and they can really relate to what our kids have experienced. It's been really good actually having some new staff members come in and into the fold and take on that understanding in a different way.
Anything else for me? Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the personnel agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Jeremy, please call roll on that.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Bostic.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mrs. McMackin.
Aye. Motion carries and the personnel agenda has been approved. Moving on to hearing of the public on our non-agenda items, and we do have Mr. Kendall that would like to speak.
Not really.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Chris Kendall. I live at 711 Lindsay Street in the Nicklin Avenue neighborhood. I've been there 33 years. Troy graduate, thought I'd never live in Piqua. Thought of Piqua like I thought about Michigan. But anyways, I love Piqua. We've been, like I said, we've been in our house 33 years, and we've raised our daughters there. And most people in our neighborhood don't want this project going on at all at Nicklin. There's signs up all over. If you drive through the Nicklin Avenue neighborhood, you see them. And if y'all seen the committee meeting, excuse me, the committee meeting the other night, there was a lot of people there, and it was all of them was about that in the gravel pit. But anyways, I grew up in a 1,200-foot home. There was 15 homes on our block. They're proposing 30. Seems like a lot. I grew up on a block about the same size of where the old Wilder Junior High was. So I'm up here speaking for our neighborhood because nobody else can make it. And I would just ask for the board to put yourselves in our shoes in a neighborhood that we love, that if they were proposing this in your neighborhood. And just think about that, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no old business, so we'll move right on to our new business.
Just some updated board policies. Most of them are language changes with no new meaning to them. This is the first read, so hopefully you had a chance to read through those. If you have any questions, I can answer them now, or during the second read, we can go over those at the next meeting, which, after the second read, it would be approved at that time. So nothing's being approved tonight. Any other questions on any of them? Okay, all the changes are noted in there, so,
It's mostly just verbiage.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other questions, can I get a motion to, our next regular meeting will be in October on the 20th at 6 p.m. here. Can I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries and we are adjourned.